Hi, welcome to another question of the week. I'm Dorian from Driving Theory UK, and on this channel, I help you everything theory driving related to give you the best possible chance of passing your theory test first time and also your driving test. If you struggle with a particular question, let me know by leaving it in the comments and I will tackle it as a question of the week. This week, I am doing lights, which was left in the comments below, and it's been left on various videos as well that I've seen that you guys are still struggling with lights. If you take a step back, it's actually very simple, but I'll explain that as we go. As usual, I'll explain what app that I use is always driving test success. It's what I use in the classroom with my pupils. I say every week. I'm not saying that other apps are bad. You can use those because everyone's different, but this is the one that I use. This is the one I get most success with by myself, because I still take a mock test every month just to make sure my knowledge is up to speed, and if any new questions appear in the test as well. So I still keep my knowledge up to scratch, and I use driving test success. So all the questions come from here. I actually take a screenshot because some of you, when I first started this segment, didn't believe I was getting the questions from here because you couldn't find those questions. So I've actually taken the screenshot and read from there itself. I will also add the questions in the apps, regardless of what app you use, are sample questions. They're not the real live questions. So it's going to be worded slightly different when you go into your theory test, because I still get comments that the wording is slightly different. Why is that? Because it's sample questions. If they gave you the real questions word for word, you guys will memorize it, because some of you are still doing that now from the apps, memorizing the questions, memorizing the answers, which is not the best way to go. As I explained earlier on, we are going to cover lights, which I didn't realize is a massive section in the theory test, because they put all the lights in there. That's your pedestrians, your pelicans, all the rest of it in there. So what I've done, I've put the car lights in this question, because this segment of question of the week is not to confuse you. It's just to isolate one question, break it down into simple little nuggets, to give you the best possible chance of passing. So if you guys would like me to do the other lights, traffic lights, be your pedestrians, your pelicans, I can do that in a separate section, but this is all about your car lights. And again, because it's massive, what I've done is taken a selection of the questions, the ones that come up the most in the classroom for my students, where they struggle, because no point doing all of the questions, because they're just, some of them are very, very similar, just worded differently with the same answer. So I've taken the selection out of them. So the first question is, you're driving on a clear night, so it's clear. Which light should you use if a national speed limit applies and there's a steady stream of oncoming traffic? So let me just quickly explain about lights. As I said to you previously, let's get that up. Lights on cars is very, very simple. So that question's come up. Let me just keep it simple. If you need to use lights, it's always going to be dipped. Okay, there's no ifs or buts. If you have to have lights on, it's always going to be dipped lights. Now, if they want anything other than dip lights, they're going to put a clue in the question. Right, so let me just repeat that. Regardless of what the question is, if it's very simple, straightforward, basic, it's always going to be dipped headlights that you're looking for. If they want any other lights, they're going to give you a little bit more information, golden nuggets that I like to call it, in the question, and then you know it's going to be something else. And hopefully, as I go through these questions, you're going to see what I'm talking about. So let's go back to the question. You're driving on a clear night, so it's clear. Which light should you use if a national speed limit applies and there's a steady stream of traffic? So simple, basic, it's going to be, let's get it right. It's going to be dipped headlights. Okay, simple, basic, straightforward, dipped headlights. You're parked on a road at night. When must you use your parking lights? Again, I use this one because it's asking when should you use it. But let me just use this as a example of what I said before. You parked Okay, a little bit more golden nugget, parking lights. So this, if there was worded slightly different, the answer would be parking lights, because they're telling you that you are parked. They've gave you a little nugget in this. It's not going to be dipped, it's going to be parking lights. But on this question, they're asking when must you use it, and it's going to be on a road that exceeds 30 miles an hour. They can word it slightly different on a road that is more than 30 miles an hour, because you're now on a faster road, so you need brighter lights. Sorry, you're on a faster road, so you need your parking lights on. Don't make it personal, because when this question and answer comes up, the people says, yeah, but if you leave it on, it kills your battery. It's got to be a generic answer that's the same answer for every person. When you get your car, you can decide if it will kill your battery. I won't go into details why they use parking lights other than that. So don't make it personal to you. It will kill your battery. They're looking for a generic answer. So it's going to be parking lights when it exceeds speed limits of 30 miles an hour or more, which means you're on a faster road. What lights should you use when you're driving on a wet motorway and vehicles are throwing up surface spray? So for those of you that's watching this, do you know what the answer is before I reveal it? And I'll read the question again. What lights should you use when you're driving on a wet motorway? So it's wet, it's a motorway. Vehicles are throwing up spray. Simple, basic. Guess what? It's dipped. It's dip lights. Nothing more, nothing less. Simple question, simple answer, dip lights. There's no golden nuggets in that whatsoever. So it's dip lights. When should you use hazard warning lights? So hazard warning lights is the one that flashes on all four, the two at the front, two at the back. And the answer is in the question, hazard warning. So when there's an obstruction of some kind. When your vehicle has broken down and it's causing obstruction, yeah, because you're a hazard. It's simple. If cars have got to go around you, you're a hazard, put your hazard lights on. That's what it's for. So again, it tallies. You got a hazard in the question, you got hazards or an obstruction in the answer. When may front fog lights be used? So this is the symbol for your front fog lights. Again, nugget in the question, front fog lights. When visibility is seriously reduced, i.e. when it's foggy. Fog is it's hard to see through fog, so you put your fog lights on so it brightens it up a little bit so you can see clearer. Again, nugget in the question makes life a little bit harder a little bit easier when it comes to choosing the answer. But you just got to take a step back and don't panic about it. Just try to relax. Right, you're driving with front fog lights switched on. What should you do if a fog has cleared? So if the fog has gone, you had your lights on when fog was there, fog has gone, turn them off. Switch them off as long as visibility remains good. So as long as you can still see pretty well, turn them off. Simple as that. Why should you switch off your rear fog lights when the fog has cleared? Now with this one, if you didn't know, your rear fog lights are red. It's more intense than brake lights, but that's the reason why you turn off. Let me reveal the answer. To prevent dazzling drivers from behind. So your rear fog lights are red. Your brake lights, if you didn't know, are red. So that's why when fog is cleared, turn it off, because like I said, from a distance, it looks like you're still braking. So that's why it can dazzle other drivers. So yeah, if the fog is lifted, it's clear, just turn off all your fog lights. What will happen if you use rear fog lights in good conditions? Similar to the previous answer, that dazzle other drivers. Because like I said, you're in fog. So think about it. You're turning the lights on so you can see clearer. They're more intense. They're more brighter. So in daylight, they can dazzle other drivers. Not to mention they can confuse them because they think your brake lights are on. But I think they're more related to the front ones on this one when they talk about dazzle. And if you didn't know, let me just break that down as well, because that's a confusing word. Dazzle is when you're being blinded by oncoming traffic, the lights. So dazzle for driving or fairy test purposes just means you've been blinded. Which lights must you use if you're driving on a well-lit motorway? So again, simple question. Let me break it down. Which lights must you use if you're driving on a well-lit motorway at night? So it's nighttime, the lights are on, it's well-lit. Guess what? It's dipped. Use your headlights. Dipped headlights and headlights are the same thing. That's why pupils get thrown off. That's why, again, I say do not memorize your answers. Because when it's like this, you think headlights and you've memorized dipped, because I've just been saying dip, 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 dipped all the way through this live. Dipped headlights and headlights are the same thing. They just word it slightly different. Which light should you switch on when daytime visibility is poor but not seriously reduced? That's like your thunderstorms, dark clouds. Again, simple question. No other information in there. Dipped headlights. Notice it's got dipped headlights on this one. Previous one had headlights. And that's what I say. Understand the question, understand the answers. Hopefully you're seeing a theme through this. Simple question, simple answer, dipped headlights or headlights. If they want something more, they will pull it in the question. Trust me, don't panic about your lights questions on the theory test. You're driving on a motorway. What does it mean if a car in front shows its hazard warning lights for a short time? So remember, hazard warning lights lets you know there's a hazard. So the traffic head is slowing or stopping suddenly. The reason for that, it does say you're on a motorway, so you're doing 70 miles an hour. If it's broad daylight, for example, squeezing the brakes, your brake lights come on. Because it's broad daylight, sometimes you don't see the red light light up in the daylight. So that's why you put your hazard lights on, because flash and amber will stand out. That person behind now knows you're slowing down for whatever reason. So brake lights don't always show up clearly in broad daylight. That's the reason why you put your hazard lights on when driving. Which light should you use when you're driving in a tunnel? Right, so simple question. I'll read it again, breaking it down, showing you the technique. Which lights should you use when you're driving in the tunnel? No added information. You're driving normally, it's in a tunnel, tunnels are dark. Guess what? Dipped headlights. Simple as that. I can't make it any more simple. Simple question when it comes to lights and you're driving. Nothing major added in. It's going to be dipped. That's the way it is. Right, which instrument panel warning light should... Let's read that again. Dyslexia always kicking in at some point. Which instrument panel warning light would show that headlights are on main beam? I'm going to break it down. It reveals the answer already. That's your main beam. That's the brightest light. You would use that when the road is pitch black, i.e. a country lane where there's no street lighting at night. But you will turn it off so not to blind other road users. This one with the red white triangle but on the red background is your hazard lights. That's on your dashboards, a push button. You push it, it makes all the lights flash. As we discussed, you'd use that when there's a hazard. That's your handbrake light. If that question comes up and show you that symbol, you're looking for braking faults on that one. The correct one with the ticked arrow, that's your main beam. And these are your indicators, your direction indicators. So that's your symbols on your car. You're driving at night with your headlights on main beam. A vehicle is overtaking you. When should you dip your headlights? Right, this question comes up and it's confusing, and then most people pull right away. The reason why you got your main beam on, because the road is dark. You're the first car, the leading car, the car's behind you is about to overtake. So you're lighting up the road so you can see clearly. That's why you got your main beam on. Soon as the car starts to overtake, so let's show you the answer. As soon as the vehicle passes you, so you don't turn it off as it's passing because you're driving in the dark at that point. So as soon as it's gone past you, comes in, you now turn it off so not to blind him from the back. And then you can use the back of his lights to guide you, because obviously you've got visibility with that. So that's the basic questions in the theory test. So hopefully you've now got a clear insight in terms of what the lights are on the cars and what they do. And I will repeat, if it's a simple question, it's going to be dipped headlights. If they add things in like you've parked, it's going to be parking lights. If they add things like fog, it's going to be fog lights. It's that simple. Look for the golden nuggets. Rather than panicking and stressing out about your theory test, look for the golden nugget in the question, and then that's what you're going to be doing for the answer. It is very simple, guys. Don't stress over it. But hopefully you got some value from that. If you did, like, comment, and subscribe. If you've got any questions you want tackled as question of the week, leave in the comment below. If you got a theory test this week, I wish you all the best with that. I know a couple of you have got one on Monday from the comments and on Tuesday. Let me know how you guys got on, because it's really nice to get the feedback from you guys, especially when it's positive. And if it's negative as you failed it, we turn it into positive because we're going to get it next time. But yeah, leave that all in the comments. Don't forget the video that comes out on Thursday. Normally it's 6 o'clock. I believe it's probably going to be another driving test route video. The reason for that is I'm looking for a test center for my pupils that we can use other than Luton, because the waiting times are long, the examiners are striking, which is putting the waiting times back. So I'm looking for a test center. Using my advice, I'm driving it in that area for those guys. But check out that video on Thursday. Otherwise, I will see you back here next week.